Hello everybody, welcome at the finals of the Open API Hackathon 2022. We are live streaming from our studio here in Hub Nivi Tower in Bratislava. And over the last 48 hours, we have been shaping the future of banking together. Now is the time for the teams, for the finalists, to show the audience, to all of you who are joining us online, the fellow teams, mentors, and the jury, what have you been able to accomplish over the upcoming weekend and 48 hours? Open API Hackathon 2022 was really special because 90 participants decided to be the part of the banking revolution. Originally, 20 teams registered and 18 of them made it to the progress pitch. I'm happy to say that we had really international attendance because we had participants from over 10 or 11 countries. Representatives from Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, Russia, Brazil, Pakistan, United Arab Emirates, USA, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Nigeria. We had a lot of university students, young professionals, companies and IT experts, then UX, UI designers, business specialists, data analysts, and also service designers among the teams who were trying to find meaningful solutions and innovation which can shape the future of banking. This year, again, two major banks joined forces, RBI and Tatra Banka, with Elevator Lab and Innovation Studio Cube, bringing together the potential of international banking group and innovation expertise to improve life of millions of customers in 13 CEE countries. Just a brief recap of this hackathon. We managed to get together over the 20 mentors, experts from the fintech field, product development, service design, and IT, in order to share the expertise and experiences to give feedback and valuable advice to the teams in order to maximize the outcomes from this limited time and effort they can give us in order to find some innovation for the fintech. We had 4 mentoring sessions where we connected mentors with the teams and they can exchange the information, feedback, and advice. Then we provided teams also with presentation skills training in order to help them prepare for the finals, to give clear messages of their innovation. The teams needed to go through the progress pitch. Since hackathon is competition, we needed to make it more competitive and challenging, so not everyone could make it to the finals. And the jury yesterday, the first jury, listened carefully to 18 presentations, from which we got 6 final teams. They will show the results and the innovative solutions during their final presentations, which will begin in a few moments. And as I said, since hackathons are about competition, we have some motivation for the teams, for the finalists. The 2 best teams, one per each category, will be awarded with 5,000 cash prize and possible cooperation during the implementation with RBI or Tatra Banka. So the prize money is here, and it's going to be about the teams and high-quality presentations. But who's going to be responsible for selecting the best teams? I'm here also with the gentleman who will be responsible. Andriy Stepanenko from RBI is connecting to us online. Andriy, can you hear us? Are you here with us?
Yes, colleagues. Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Yes, perfect. Welcome in our studio. Then we are here also with Martin Kubik, board member of Tatra Banka. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much.
And last but not least, head of Cube, Slavo Tuleja.
Hi.
Amazing. Gentlemen, just a quick recap regarding the criteria which you should follow regarding the selection of the winners. We want to see the sweet spot of innovation of new solutions they will show us and propose. We want to see if their ideas and concepts are customer desirable, if they are business viable and technical feasible. We're going to look for the answers to the questions such as how does it make sense from the business perspective, what is the technical roadmap for proof of concept, and what problem of our target customers are they trying to solve. Each team has 5 minutes for presentation, and then you, gentlemen, will have 5 minutes for question and answers if you will need to clarify some additional information. So that being said, let's proceed to the first challenge. Challenge A, which is owned by RBI. It's called Value-Added Service for Retail Consumers, or B2C. We wanted the teams to focus on developing a solution looking at supplemental banking or non-banking digital services in order to bring valuable features to RBI customers using RBI satellite apps approach and RBI's open API infrastructure. We wanted to explore potential concepts outside of the banking sector, scalable to 13 countries of the RBI network. Since the challenge has its constraints, we wanted the POC or proof of concept to be executable within 3 to 6 months, within a budget up to 60,000 euros. We have 3 finalists, teams called Not Advanced, Finfluent, and PiggyBank, and the first of them is called Not Advanced, and it should be presented by Jakub. Jakub, are you here with us? Okay, we can see the presentation.
Okay, hello, I'm here.
Okay, let's go. It's your turn.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jakub Mertus, and I represent team Not Advanced. Today, I will show you our solution called Am I Poor? Which is also the question many people are asking themselves regularly, being pushed by pressure from influencers across all social media. We are an internal team of data scientists from Tatra Banka, and we are using technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and many more on daily basis. Our background spans from maths to physics to computer science. Now, let me tell you about the 2 key challenges that we would like to address. First, banking industry faces unprecedentedly low interest rates while deposits are surging. For example, 200 million euros are added to current accounts in Slovakia every month. That means that there is a need to shift retail deposits towards investment solutions to maintain current bank revenues. Secondly, clients lack even basic financial education and are hoarding money in savings accounts while inflation chips away their purchasing power. We have to elevate their financial knowledge and build awareness about easy digital investment solutions. So Am I Poor is mobile-first, lightweight financial advisory tool. In Tatra Banka, we have already built internal transaction insight application, and we recognize how difficult it is to extract useful information from even more detailed data than PSD2 provides. Therefore, instead of heavy transactional analytics, our decision is to focus on virality and associated acquisition of new to invest clients to investment products from Tatra Banka or Raiffeisen Bank International. The screens you can see are built in Figma to help you visualize the final product. On the right side, you can see our demo application where we show the customer journey of the unfortunately poor user. Based on their account balance, we show them their current standing within the demographic. The call to action is to connect to PSD2 API and show them possible investment opportunities by simple transactional data analytics. As we already mentioned it is difficult to precisely categorize client transactions. Therefore, we would categorize transactions using only one feature and using expert logic. This results in identifying so-called unnecessary transactions, creating opportunity for additional savings. In case we identify a rich customer, we recommend them investment products. We have also developed a web-based prototype application following the same screen flow, which is already published under the mipoor.app domain. If this would be a standalone solution, we expect the majority of revenue to come from investment product lead generation fees. After gaining traction, we expect a portion of the revenues to come from premium lightweight transactional analytics offered to the user. From the technical feasibility side, this solution is very feasible. We are not doing any heavy lifting with the customer data that is limiting the majority of regulatory obstacles like GDPR. This is why our solution can be deployed within a few weeks. We based our rough estimates on previous experience with similar projects. Majority of time and financial resources would be used on improving customer experience and go-to-market strategy. We wanted to assess the high-level interest. That is why we created a simple Facebook and Instagram campaign with enormous €5 budget. And this campaign ran for 12 hours throughout last night, and it reached approximately 1,000 people, creating a click-through rate of 3.3%, which is above market benchmarks we found online. This smoke test reinforced our belief in product feasibility. Both Figma and web-based prototypes are ready for you to try out on the following links. In case of any further questions, we are happy to discuss this with you. Thank you for your attention, and I believe the question, am I poor, stays on your mind.
Thank you very much, Jakub. Great job with the presentation. Still few more seconds to spare. Let's begin with questions. The jury, who's going to be the first one to ask?
Okay, I can be the first one to ask. Thank you for the presentation. Very nice. I like that you showed us the visuals. Tell us a little bit more about the go-to-market strategy here, because we know that there are apps such as Spendy and so on the market, which are using the advantages of PSD2 and are analyzing your transactions and so on. How do you envision rolling this out if it happens?
So, like I said in the presentation, the strategy is based on virality and a bit of controversy, but mostly we see it as a very simple and lightweight tool. That means that we would try and create some sort of traction through marketing and use just standard Instagram or Facebook campaigns to reach the demographic that we would like to reach. Now, I don't think that it is very difficult, to develop such an application. Like you said, there are already applications that are also trying to gauge your financial background and maybe help you with seeing which transactions or what budgets are appropriate for you. But we are not striving to do any advanced analytics, like we said. Since we have already enough experience in this manner, we see that sometimes this has very diminishing returns, and it takes quite a lot of effort and time to develop very heavy transactional analytics engines. So we are just simplifying everything we can to the bare minimum, and using some transactional data of just basically the names of the counter accounts, we are able to use just broad rule-based categorizations from our databases to categorize the transactions. So nothing complicated, and again focused on acquiring new to invest customers through a virality tool.
2 more minutes, so other questions?
I would like to ask, I understood that you are trying to get the customer mainly by inspirative design, but then there should be also some transfer or redirecting to the investment solution, and how you are planning to redirect the customers, or are you planning to do the investment decisions in your application or somewhere else?
Yes, so since there is this demo on the web already, and you can see that on the last page of the demo, on the mipoor.app domain, if you were to click through it, you would be just getting the redirection towards investment opportunities in the banks, either Tatra Asset Management funds or RBI products. So we are not we don't want to be responsible for showing them the actual way of how to start investing, but just letting the people know that these products exist, and just give them some traction through the virality component.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy?
Thank you. My question would be, How will you derive that this will be in 8 weeks? Not only desirable, but also viable and feasible. So more towards feasible. Will you have some proof already after 8 weeks, or it's a longer shot?
Yes, so basically we have already developed the web page in 24 hours. So from the technical feasibility standpoint, it is something that is very well known how to do, a website, how to connect it to the PSD2 API. And the time that we have roughly estimated is based on our historic knowledge of how long it takes and how long and how much it costs and how long it takes to develop such an application. So this is only a web application. Most of the time we would be trying to, like I said in the presentation, improve the customer experience, the designs, the marketings. So again, very lightweight. Basically, you can host it on any domain you want. It's just a virality tool that through the PSD2 aggregation will give you some simple transactional analytics. And if this won't work, we know that it's going to be quite cheap to make in time and in money. So fail fast.
Jakub, thank you very much. Time's up, unfortunately. So thanks a lot for your presentation. And let's proceed to the second team competing in the challenge A, owned by RBI. The team is called Finfluent, and it's going to be presented and introduced by Juraj, who's going to be with us in a few seconds. I believe that this is the Czech team from Czech Republic. Juraj, can you hear us? Hello?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect.
The stage is yours, so you can share your presentation.
Yeah, let me share the presentation and make sure that everybody can see it.
Yes, we can see that. So let's do this.
Stack, do you see the full screen?
Not yet.
Oh, sorry. How about now?
Yes, we can see that.
Perfect. I have a friend, John, that wanted to buy a guitar but didn't have sufficient funds. What he did is hopped online and conducted a thorough research that cost him both time and effort with a favorable result of 5% interest rate. You can imagine John's disappointment when he walked into the branch and found out that he can actually only qualify for 9%. What John needs to do in order to get accurate loan quotation is go to Finfluent web app and connect it with his accounts from different bank through Open API. After regulatory consent is given, Finfluent will ping John's Sparkasse's account and will download transaction data that are subsequently sent to RBI's scoring engine that will evaluate his credit. After the result, John can get a good offer, a pre-approved good offer that is rock solid without even setting a foot in a brick and mortar store. And now let's have a look how it looks for John in the real world. So John is on the banner. He wants to take a look how it looks with Finfluent. He actually chooses the Sparkasse accounts that he wants to link with Finfluent application. He needs to log in, so he provides his details. And he, of course, needs to confirm the regulatory consent that we can approach the data. Right now, we are actually trying to reach Sparkasse Bank and obtain all the information via Open API and as well send this data to the scoring engine. This is the landing page of Finfluent, what John sees as first. You can see that in terms of accounts, he qualifies for free account within Premium, within Raiffeisen Bank. He can browse through different tabs as well, like mortgages or loans. And now we see that Raiffeisen offer actually beats his Sparkasse loan. Important part of our solution is the scoring engine, where we evaluate our client based on transaction history and state registries. Knowing that information and giving John a few tips how he can boost it, he can actually improve his 75% score right now. That can be very helpful in the future when he will be applying for a digital mortgage with RBI. But back to his current problem, he obviously wants to change his account, so he clicks apply online, and what he does is actually shift it to the confirmation page where he skips through all pre-filled information that we obtain from OpenAPI. This way, he can actually spend 10 minutes practicing the guitar instead of doing onboarding process. You're probably wondering, how is this different to the competitive portals that already provide this? We take into account not only income side, but also expense side from the equation. So let's say that we've got a customer that has high income, but spends most of his pay anyway. This would be reflected in the score. Also, usually to get a quotation, you need to provide an email or a phone number that most people are reluctant to provide anyway, because they don't want to be bothered with sales agents. In terms of business perspective, we see a large chunk of revenues up for grasp. Circling back to John's example, aggregate portfolio of loans just like his attributes to 2.5 billion euros in Czech Republic itself. And we know approximately 10% of people decides to move their account anyway. So if we boost that 2%, if we boost that by the margin of 2% to total 12%, that would account to 6.1 additional revenues, 6.1 million of additional revenues for RBI in Czech Republic itself. This could be, of course, extrapolated to CEE region. In terms of project timeline, we can actually seize the viable MVP right now, and we would like to shift into new products, segments, and markets. So what's the main point for John? It's the time saving, that he doesn't need to spend any time at the branch. He can get bulletproof loan with no surprises, and the whole process is end-to-end digital experience for him, and the onboarding is done within a number of seconds. So he can actually practice and rock his G course. And as well, that's why John would pick Finfluent over Durchblicken. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Juraj. And let's go back to the studio to your questions. Martin?
If I may, I would ask, if I understood it, that John is, or you are obtaining his financial data through your application, and then your application is serving as a market comparison of the particular offers of the connected bank or banks that want to visualize their offers in your application. It means that besides PSD2 interfaces, you would need also somehow materialize the offers of the banks in your application. How are you planning to do it?
Of course, this is an acquiring tool, so naturally you need to have bank participating in this and spend a little bit of marketing budget on the products that would become competitive with the competition. I just noticed that, for instance, Raiffeisen Bank is right now in Czech Republic quite high on consumer loans, so that would be a great tool to actually boost those loans through our application.
Do you envision it as a standalone portal, so it would be competing with all the other existing competitors, or do you see it as some kind of a tool which would give a possible advantage to RBI fighting off the competition?
I can see the synergies in both, actually, because if the client lands on the RBI side where he wants to check the products, he can be directed to the Finfluent app where he can check all of the things we mentioned, as well as if he puts it in the Google, let's say, and the Google app, the Google ads would boost this search. Then he could be actually directed to the application, not through the site. So we see it as a standalone application, standalone solution that can be possibly integrated within RBI marketing or marketing approach.
Andrei?
What is the value of your score, credit score? Because if there are offers from different banks, you don't know the probability, their probability of approval. So how you want to really not mislead John, offering him something and then he's not approved despite your high score?
Yeah, of course, there might be a hiccup further in the process where we find out some additional information. How I see it is this is like an entry point for me. Unselfishly on myself, when I tried to apply for a mortgage, I actually got declined, even though I think that I'm a worthy banking client and I have above average salary and basically no debts. But then I was rejected anyway, and that took me another round to go through. What I think is actually if you do this screening beforehand and save this time of 1 hour spending in the branch, getting this information is actually helpful. And yeah, how to compare it with another offering, that would be only offer from our perspective. So we know that this is something we as RBI can offer to the client. And he probably knows how what kind of condition he has in different banks.
Do we have any additional questions?
What do you see as the biggest implementation risk when you're rolling this out?
Probably implementation risk. Probably the thing that we are limited by the number of banks that actually are that we can connect to. So if we have a smaller portion of banks that provide their open APIs, that of course limits the number of clients that can use it. But as I see, this should be a regulation, so I believe that all of the banks at one point in the future should be available at our disposal.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are getting to the third and the last contestant of this challenge, Challenge A, the team called Piggy Bank, which will be pitched by Walter. And the Piggy Bank is a team combined from Brazil and Slovakia. Hi, Walter. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yes, I can.
Perfect. So the stage is yours. Share your presentation and we can begin.
All right, so just give me a second.
We cannot see that yet. Now we can, so perfect.
Okay, so shall I count down?
Yes, you have.
Oh, okay. All right. My parents used to give me $10 to spend every month just on whatever I wanted. Me as a little nerdy kid, normally I would like buy video games or toys, but the toys, they didn't always cost $10, so I would end up having some money left from that spending. And whenever that happened, that just made me so happy. I almost felt like I just won the lottery. At that time, like life seemed so simple and money seems so simple, but many adults, they grow up to have a lot of anxiety just about being adults. And many times this anxiety comes just from not knowing well how to manage their money. During this weekend, we tried to talk to a few young adults, and here we talked with Peter, a 30-year-old adult. And he told us that he knows there are opportunities out there, but he just doesn't feel smart enough in this financial world. And he's not alone, because we discovered that about 52% of Slovak adults, they feel like they are not very well financially literate. So we want to help Peter out and all the young adults as well. We want to just make financial literacy simple. And it is simple. There are just 2 steps. You just don't spend all the money you earn, and that little money that you don't spend, you just save it wisely for your future. So pretty much, he wants to bring allowances back, but this time for adults, and you get to give yourself the money. Here, for example, Peter can just choose which habits he wants to improve and save money for the future. One example that I'm going to give here is that he can create some allowance for subscriptions. Say that he wants to only spend 50 euros in subscription services like Netflix, and choose where he wants to save that. He can put that towards retirement. So allowances, they don't work like a spending budget. they're actually a virtual bank account. The money is still in your bank, but whenever you make a transaction, we can automatically categorize that transaction to the allowance. But not only that, there's also the option that we can create virtual cards that are also customizable, and they have only the limit of the allowance. So whenever you use that, you have this psychological feeling of having control over these expenses that you are doing. And of course, at the end of the month, when you get to have some money left, you get to use it for something to save your financial future. For example, here, the money that Peter has saved from the subscriptions, he can put it towards retirement, or he can put it towards some investments or some bank products. That is a great opportunity for us to do cross-sell and upselling for RBI. So the benefits for Peter and young adults are pretty clear, but we also think that the benefits are pretty clear for the banks as well. So there are a lot of opportunities for cross-selling and upselling, but not only for RBI customers, because thanks to PSD2, other banks can also use this application throughout the APIs. We also can gather a lot of better customer insights that can help us understand our audience better. And there's a lot of potential in this subscription model. For example, we did a little calculation or estimation on how much money that could be. And this is based only on a €3 monthly subscription, a 30% adoption from CE countries that have the APIs already available. And that can be over €5 million per month. But of course, we wanted to make sure that people wanted this, so we went back there to talk to people. We heard from this respondent, from one respondent, that they really want to try this app. But we also wanted to talk back to Peter, and we showed this to Peter, and he said, I like this concept, it could work for me, so we have a lot of trust behind this. When it comes to feasibility, we know that we can do automated categorization thanks to some tools that are out there. We also know that we can use PSD data from RBI, but also from other banks to just populate the data for the application. And we believe that with an agile team, we can deliver the POC in just a few sprints. So just to wrap it up, with this solution, we just hope to help people grow up to be the adults they wanted to be as kids. Thank you. And here there's a QR code if you feel like exploring our prototype.
Thank you very much, Walter, for your presentation. And get back to the questions.
I'm not 100% sure I fully understood how the coexistence between your application, where Peter is managing his money, is coexisting with the banking application, where Peter is probably having his account and the bank is providing him the banking application. Like how does he distinguish what to do in that application, what in that, and what is the added value to spend the time in your application?
All right. The application that we are offering, it could work as a satellite application where he would just manage allowances. We don't see this as a spending budget calculation where you would put all of your expenses there, try to manage everything there. It's really, you get to choose some habits that you can improve, such as maybe you pay too much on subscriptions, maybe you feel like you're eating too much takeouts, maybe you feel like you're spending too much on gaming. So you get to set yourself allowances from that, and through the APIs, we can get the bank data and control these limits for the allowances as well. So in theory, this doesn't have to be a satellite app. This can be included into the banking app as well. But if you make this a satellite app, we can also use this application with other banks. So we can also gather customers from other banks because they also have PSD2 APIs. So we can also have the chance to cross-sell and upsell banking products to non-RBI customers.
Thank you.
So,
how do you envision the acquisition process of users? Because from what you have shown me, it seems that you need to spend quite a lot of time at the beginning to categorize things, to give yourself budgets and so on. And that got me thinking, you know, if I'm acquiring users at some benchmark rate of I don't know, €2 per user, how many of them am I going to lose during the onboarding process? Because it seems like it's going to take time.
Mm-hmm. Right. I didn't show exactly here how the onboarding process works, but when you go to try it out in the QR code, you can see that. However, the way that we want to do that is just you open the application, you can just answer a couple of questions, and based on that, we propose you some allowances with some already set up amounts, and that's it. You can start using the application. Of course, there's a lot of power for customization, so if people really want to get into the nitty-gritty, they can create multiple allowances, but we really imagine that this would work best for people that don't want to have an overwhelming amount of allowances that they want to manage, because that's already the reason why many people don't use spending budgets, because there are so many categories and things to handle. But here, when we are just scoping that and just focusing on some habits that you can improve, we think that that can have some good adoption.
Thank you. Andrei?
Thank you. Is it a tool that simply highlights when the limit is over, or it's a hard limit which is integrated to the main bank accounts that doesn't allow people to spend? I mean, or it's just a kind of a risk highlight?
It is actually both. We want to allow people to do both. We want to have it by default in a way that when you reach the limit that is over, you don't use it anymore, but you could just mark it as, I don't want it to be that strict. However, what we want to do is to help people not spend the entire allowance, because if you're spending the entire allowance, then you're not enjoying the second part, which is the financial security. So we're really trying to push people to always use less. That's why we also want to include a feature that dynamically changes the size of the allowance, kind of encourage people to either spend less on certain things that they shouldn't be doing, or maybe spend more on certain things, because you could have an allowance for example, investments that could be growing every month. You know, every month you could spend 5 more euros on some type of investment or some healthy habit.
Okay, we have a few more seconds, so if you have any additional questions.
I would have. Did I understand correctly that the big part of your application is that you need to be able to categorize all transactions of the customer? Like to split it to the particular pockets, like type of usage and so on and so forth. This categorization is quite a heavy task, and international-wise it's difficult to be able to do it on a high maturity level in each country. You need to have data from particular countries. How are you planning to do so?
We understand that. We understand that there is some way to do it automatically that already exists that might not be optimal. That's why we also have the option to have these virtual cards that you can put on your Apple Pay, for example, and you can consciously just use that card when you do a specific transaction. And that is why this type of action can also help us improve the way that we categorize the data. And on the other side, of course, we also want to allow people to just manually correct things in case things got wrong.
Thank you very much, Walter. Time's up. Thanks a lot
very much
for your presentation. And let's proceed to the second round of finalists. We will be seeing solutions of the Challenge B, which is owned by Tatra Banka. Tatra Banka partnered with Superfaktura, and they wanted to explore challenges SMEs are facing and identify use cases, develop new value-added service for SMEs using Tatra Banka or Superfaktura API infrastructure, and create solutions that provide SMEs with better view of their business. The challenge constraints were POC executable in 3 months, and it should run on current Tatra Banka existing infrastructure. We have again 3 finalists called FinAPI, Maps, and Strands, and the first of them will be presented by Tomáš from FinAPI. Tomáš, can you hear us?
Hello everyone, yes I can hear you. Can you hear me also?
Yes, loud and clear, so let's do this.
Perfect, I'm also sharing my screen. Can you please confirm you can see that?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, perfect. So let's get into it. There are 300,000 hours wasted each month in Slovakia by SMEs in total on collecting receipts from either employees or business owners in those companies, and then actually pairing them manually with the transaction on the bank accounts before everything can be bundled together and sent to an accountant. We did a research with 15 companies yesterday from various segments, and we found out that in order to do this, it takes a couple of days each month. And then we also checked the statistics just to see how many of such companies are there in Slovakia. What we do is we gather receipts by forwarding email into a special email address in order to save the receipts and the documents into our application. Then we pair the receipts automatically with the transactions on the bank accounts. And then the office manager is happy because it took only a portion of the time to do the same thing, which would take days previously. So what do we got? We have a fully working design prototype, and we also have implemented a web app. So let's check it out. Right now, we are in the application settings. I'm logged in as a business owner. I'm going to upload some receipts, which I can do manually instead of just sending everything by the email, by forwarding the email. Hopefully, you can see what I'm doing.
Yes, we can.
Documents are being uploaded. Now they're uploaded. Now I'm going to connect my bank account, which is in Tatra Banka. We are using the Sandbox PSD2 API. Now the transactions have been synced into our account, and we can see that everything went through, and also some of the documents were able to be paired with the transaction automatically. Now, as this particular employee or the business owner, my work is done here, and I will leave the rest for our office manager to put everything together. Now I'm switched to an office manager account. This is an inbox, or we could say an agenda, where we can see all the uploaded or send files into our application. So the office manager sees what needs to be done, sees the transaction receipts and everything. Once everything is done, we can click export and send everything to the accountant, and it's done. Everyone's happy. It took only a portion of the time. Now, regarding the business model, we are going to be a standalone application, and we are going to charge a subscription-based fee. We are going to charge only a portion of money which these SMEs would pay doing the same thing manually each month. And since we are friendly, we are also going to offer plugin integration to various services such as Superfactura or others. Our roadmap, or what we will do next, is we'll sync issued invoices from Superfactura and other services. We are going to add more currencies and languages in order to be feasible in different markets in the European Union. We are going to integrate payment services, payment gateways. We are going to add collaboration so that, for example, the office manager could have a conversation below a specific transaction or the receipt in the application. And we can also do business. And while we were doing our research yesterday with our potential customers, we already gained 6 companies which are interested in using our application and also be willing to pay for our services. Would you like to save time of your customers? Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks a lot, Tomáš, for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
And let's start with a round of questions. Who's going to be the one?
Thank you, Tomáš. Could you please explain to me once again where exactly am I going to save time? Because the way that we normally operate is that we gather receipts and invoices, we scan them, we upload them to Google Drive, and then we deposit there also our bank statement, and then it's the job of the accountant. Whereas here I see some more steps, if you could just explain.
Yeah, exactly like you explained it is exactly how it works. But the problem is that for many companies, in order to put all the receipts, invoices, etc. together, then to check if there is anything missing, and to call someone or to write someone, some executive or an employee who pays for something, who bought something in the store next door, etc. It usually takes a lot of time. As I mentioned in the research we did yesterday, there were 15 companies, and the number of days which took them in order just to put everything together. This took them from 2 up to 7 days in some cases. And we had companies from either logistics, real estate, a software company, a restaurant. There was some car service. So various different segments, and each of these companies reported that it usually takes at least a couple of days to do so.
Okay, so you're saying that this is mainly focused on some medium-sized companies which don't have some kind of an internal or an enterprise software to do this, but also are big enough that the mess is there.
Exactly, that is a very good question. So we are aiming for companies with the number of employees between 10 up to 50. So if the company is smaller, then it usually doesn't take 2 days to do so, but is usually done in a couple of hours. And on the other side, if the company is larger than 50 employees, they usually also have their own accountant or third-party system, which purpose is mainly to do this, but for bigger companies, bigger enterprises, etc.
Martin?
I want to double check if I understood it correctly, that the main added value is for like somehow automatizing the digitalization or the storage of the different papers, bills, statements, and so on, to somehow outsource it to all of the employees, not only the accountant, like to put the bills on his, her table, and then to pair those bills with the transactions on the account. And
exactly.
the pairing is happening between, or the reconciliation is happening between the bill and the company's account or the employee account, because usually it should be company account, or?
Yes, it's a company account, but there are usually employees, for example, the restaurants, that's a very good example, where the employees went to a grocery store to purchase something using company debit card or credit card. Or they are paying cash, but then the cash needs to go from somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, as you mentioned, we are doing two things. One thing is gather everything from everyone who's using a company debit card or is paying for company money, and then to pair these receipts with the bank account transactions, which we are getting by using PSD2 APIs and syncing them into our application.
Thank you.
But how do I then force the employees to upload it right away? Because it seems to me that this is the same problem, right? That if I pay with company card and I take the receipt and I forget it to pass it on to whomever, how are you going to force me to do the upload? Because, you know, in both cases you need to make some action, and it seems like making the action is the problem in these companies.
Depends on the specific company use case, but what we researched yesterday showed us that the main issue is with executives and business owners who don't have enough time to put everything together in a single place and then send it in batches. That's why we are going to add that's why we have the function to just forward the email. So when you pay something, you usually get email notification. If you don't, you can set it up and then just forward the email to a specific email address and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, unfortunately, time's up. So Tomáš, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us.
We will continue with another team called Maps, and their solution will be presented by Adam. Adam, can you hear us? Not yet. Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear Adam. Hi.
Amazing. Hi, welcome in our studio. Please share your screen, and then we can begin. We can see that, so the stage is yours.
Poor cash flow management accounts for 82% of business failures. Let's illustrate this problem on a real-life use case. Mirka is a CEO of an event agency, and she struggles with forecasting her day-to-day cash flow, which leads to paralyzing uncertainty about the future of her business. That's why we created Runway, an in-app feature in the Tatra Banka application, which allows business liquidity forecasting. Our solution is based on an in-app analysis of invoicing data in the Tatra Banka application. Important information about revenues and expenditures is sent from Superfactura or other invoicing software through an API to Tatrabanka, which serve as a base for this runway feature cash flow prediction. So let's see how this would look for Mirka. So let's say that Mirka loads all of her information from Superfactura to Tatrabanka. Straight away, she gets this really simple and easy to use interface within the Tatrabanka application, where she can see all of the important info about her expected revenue and costs. What catches her attention is this runway feature, which is telling her that she can only keep going until February 22 with the current balance. And she also learns that her runway estimate is much lower than most of the companies in her industry. She's interested, so she clicks through, and she learns more information that she can keep going only for 4 weeks, and that this indicates a serious cash flow issue. Here comes the proactive approach of Tatrabanka, offering her to explore solutions of the problem. When she clicks onto the next screen, she gets a pre-approved solution selection, such as business loan or overdraft. And to make her decision easier, she also gets information about the suitability of the solution based on the regularity of her cash flow problems. Since Mirka encounters cash flow gaps fairly regularly, she chooses the overdraft option, where she can adjust the required loan amount. And she also learns that this sum increases her runway time by 10 weeks. She fills in all the necessary information. She reviews the terms, which are valid for her current situation, and she is happy to request the loan. So just like that, Mirka was able to identify she will have a cash flow problem within the Tatrabanka application and get a solution to this problem within a few clicks. She can now see her updated runway estimate, which is now 14 weeks, allowing her to sleep that much easier. So this is the product demo, but where's the money, you may ask? So first of all, this feature allows for a personalized experience for each client, analyzing the day-to-day business activity with in-app generated recommendations of banking products. Also, the banks may do real-time credit scoring, which changes their approach to this from a reactive one to a proactive one, and then offer better product recommendations at just the right time for the business. We believe that these two benefits and more will boost sales for Tatrabanka. 1/3 of all SMEs in Slovakia regularly face commercial insolvency issues. That means that the market and the opportunity is definitely there. Our roadmap shows that the proof of concept is completely executable within the given time frame of 3 months. And we are also looking beyond this roadmap to features such as bank offerings in invoicing tools, such as Superfactura, and e-invoicing synchronization, which is coming with mandatory e-invoicing in 2023. We believe that this will ensure that the data created by the runway feature are up to date and rock solid. We estimate that this project would cost less than 45,000 euros to implement, and our team is fully ready to offer their support with implementation. So let's recap. Here is what you get right now. On the left, you have information between revenues and expenditures in your invoicing software. And on the right, you have information about your income and costs in the Tatrabanka application. But right now, these two are out of sync. Runway bridges this gap and allows businesses to make more rational decisions and spot problems earlier, and banks to offer them better product recommendations at just the right time based on their current business performance.
Adam, thank you very much for the presentation. Time's up. So let's kick off the round of questions. The jury. Who's going to be first to ask? Andriy?
Thank you. Adam, my question would be, what is now the competitive landscape in Slovakia for such solutions? Do such things exist on the market or something similar?
Right now, I think that as far as banks go, Tatra Banka would be the first one to offer such a solution to its business customers. And also there are software solutions that offer cash flow predictions, but they are often out of context. And what we are doing is that we are setting the context right within the interface where the business does their financial operations, that being the Tatra Banka interface.
Martin?
I would like to ask, what is the basic logic that how you are predicting the future cash flow? I can guess, but please try to give few examples. Which data are you working with and how?
Okay, so we are trying to completely get rid of all the guesswork. So we are basing the prediction purely on the invoices and on the documents that are in the invoicing software. So Tatra Banka would request through the API the information from the invoices. So let's say creation date, the sum, the date when the invoice has to be paid. And then when receiving this information would create a graph, a model that is only taking into account the due dates of those invoices. And whenever there would be a particular date where the expenses will continue, but there will be no further income, then the runway feature can say, this is your date until when you have to get some more money, whether it be through a banking product or making more money. And then when you, for example, create a new invoice and you receive a new payment, then the estimate would adjust. So the estimate is purely based on the documents that are already existing.
Thank you.
I would like to explore the model a bit further because I still don't understand. So you can take the data, you can take the historical expenses data, which is quite reliable because the company usually has similar types of expenses. So if they had a high amount of, let's say, money on the bank account, then you can calculate it based on the expenses. So you can calculate the runway in months. But in terms of the income side, are you actually able to predict it further than 30 days? Because most of the invoices are issued on a 30-day payment terms. So how do you fight this? Because especially if it's a business like an event agency, where this is not a SaaS model where you generate income steadily every month and it's easy to predict, how do you fight this? Because then I see a risk factor here that you can estimate runway and then tell the customer that they need a loan, and that might pose a risk for Tatra Banka, because if no cash is coming in, then it's a problem for both sides.
Okay, so let me again illustrate on the example of the event agency. So let's say that the payment will arrive, let's say, in 60 days, but the invoice is already there. So let's say that the event agency issues this invoice, is just awaiting the payment. Then Runway will know, Tatra Banka will know, according to the information from the invoicing software, that such invoice is on the way, we can say, and therefore it will take into consideration the income in the future.
Yes, I understand, but it's only for issued invoices.
Also for received invoices for costs, because there you can again see the other side. You can see that, for example, in the future, the costs can, for a short period of time, be higher than the current bank balance, and then the bank can offer a loan, let's say, that will help the business to just cover the gap between having to make the expenditure and then receiving the payment, let's say, in the next 60 days. So the bank knows that the money will come. It just knows that there will be a gap between how much money you have to spend and when you get the payment from the invoice.
So actually this creates an opportunity for invoice financing, because the invoice has to be issued, so you can use it in the model. If the invoice is not issued, then you cannot predict.
Yes, because when we talk to these companies which are like high-cost service providers, that means that they can take a big project that will make them a lot of money, but they have to also cover a lot of costs until they deliver the service. Then they don't know whether they can even afford to take on the project, even though in the end it would make them money.
Adam, I need to jump in because time's up, but thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks to jury for the questions. And let's proceed to the last but not least project, which is called REGISTRANTS. It's the project from the Spanish team, and it will be pitched by Jordi. Can you hear us? We cannot hear you yet, because probably your mic is not connected. Now we can. Okay, perfect, Jordi. Please try to share your screen.
Okay.
Now.
I'm sharing just right now.
Yes, we can see your screen, so let's begin. The stage is yours.
Perfect, thanks a lot. Then I want to present PayAI, Pay Your Bills the Smart Way. But previous to present our product, let's keep an eye to the current status of the market. What is happening nowadays? Nowadays, the SMEs are struggling with the COVID impact, and most of them are absorbing the impact, trying to reduce their losses as much as possible. But there are signs of recovery and important growth rates about several industries. This is a report that is for an important accounting company that did a study on 1 million of SMEs and revealed that in March of the year 2021, the SMEs start to revamp. Then this is an opportunity for those businesses to recover what they lost. Our value proposition is, for one side, to the bank, to reduce the bank customer churn rate, because if those enterprises get out of money, then they will stop to work with the bank, but also helping those SMEs to manage better their finances. We are trying to kill two birds with one single stone. How? The problem is because the pay bills optimally requires a hard administrative work. How hard it is you need to dedicate time to review the bills one by one. You need to try to avoid the cash flow issues in the future. And also you need to deal with the due dates of the invoices. This is the work normally an accountant needs to do, but it depends on the size of the company. Probably you have a dedicated account or probably not. How we will do it? Meet our solution, PayAI. PayAI will help those companies to manage their payments in an easy and in a smart way. How? We will put an intelligent artificial algorithm that try to find the most convenient way in order to pay the bills. We will have, these companies will have more available cash flow to invest. It will create a sense of confidence and trust with providers and suppliers, because you will not disrupt their payments, and you will optimize your finances and payments. Tell me a little bit more. It's simple. Just identify which are the most appropriate invoice to be paid next, and this will keep your financial health in your business. Let's keep an eye on how it works. Let's imagine that we are working with Catherine. Catherine is an accountant that is trying to see which is the status of the company. In a near future, it looks like we will have a breakdown. Then what Catherine needs to pay next? If Catherine sees all the invoices, we'll see a full list that she needs to check. But thanks to our algorithm, we will help her having a score for each kind of invoice that is pending to be paid. Then it's that simple. Just organize it by order of payment and you have it. If you see here, you will see that we have two companies that have the same name, that this is the same provider, but this is a critical provider for our business to continue. But also we want to pay the mobiles. If we don't pay the mobiles, the company will stop to work. We want to maintain the trust of one of the providers, but also we want to do the payment of the mobiles. Let's divide from the invoice that it's the smaller one, and then pay the first bill of mobile, giving the chance to pay later when we have more money for our important customers. Then Catherine has a plan. Let's click it to the invoice and just play now. Then, how we do this magic? We are using a forecasting with two main components. The first component is time series forecasting that we are using for the incomes. And then we are using a list of bills for the expenses. And what we want to do, we want to optimize the cash flow operations, taking into account the scoring on the invoices and also the scoring of the providers. Not all the providers and not all the invoices are as important for all the customers the same way. We will optimize this sum for every single customer. Then the infrastructure. The infrastructure is flexible to be adapted just to work in a standalone mode or just to be integrated behind Superfactura or TatraBank APIs. And this will be discovered into the kickoff. Into the kickoff, we will have a process divided in 4 weeks, in 4 iterations, in 1 iteration for the kickoff, the others for the rest of the project. We will have this amazing team to put it to work, and PayAI. We pay with pay makes your day.
Thank you very much for the last presentation of OpenAPI Hackathon 2022. And now it's turn for the last round of questions. Andri, would you like to begin?
Yes. Thank you, Jordi. My question is, you mentioned 2 scorings. Scoring of critical providers on one hand, and scoring of invoices. So critical providers, it's clear, but I missed the logic for scoring of invoices.
Yeah, sometimes you have a critical provider that is necessary to do your business. But the thing is, probably that provider will have invoices that are more important than others. It's because that we want to have the option to give to the customer to evaluate which kind of invoice is really, really important from that provider. Also, we can rely on categories. It means we can categorize for a single provider that has a category that maybe you have groceries or maybe you have fuel, but for your company, the fuel is critical and for maybe the grocery is not. It's because that we divided in these 2 scores to have the possibility to measure between them regarding the business of the customer.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Does it mean that you are forecasting the cash flow, taking into consideration the current status, and also advising that this invoice can be delayed by that amount of days because whatever the supplier not so important and can survive, and these have to be paid?
Exactly.
Okay. And the scoring is done by any advanced analytics algorithm, or this is just the parameter which can be set up by the accountant or owner of the company or whomever, or both ways?
Just right now, since the time we have to develop this product, we rely on the expertise of the business. It means this is a parameter that the customer needs to fill in. But it doesn't mean we can connect an external API or we can connect an external database that has expert knowledge, or we can pay for it, or develop a different model. We have all the possibilities to continue in the future. But just right now, for this MVP, it's just a parameter.
What type of business impact is this bringing? I understand that this tool can help companies stay longer afloat, so they remain a business customer for the bank longer. What else?
Well, the main idea is just right now the current situation is complicated for SMEs that are receiving investment, and they need to organize their investment wisely, just to keep their losses as minimum as possible and increase their revenues as possible. Then in this situation, for us, the most critical thing for the bank also is retain those providers that has a high value because they are generating money, helping them to pay the bills the most easy way. It's because our value proposition is focused on this part.
Okay.
Okay, so if we don't have any additional questions, Jordi, thank you very much for your presentation. And thank to all teams for your effort and initiative. Thanks to the audience for your attention. Now it's time to announce the winner. Not yet. Maybe we can be patient for a few more moments. It's going to be up to the jury. So we will meet each other back on the live stream in 15 to 20 minutes. And I believe that we will be able to figure out the winners until then. So see you later in the studio. Welcome back in the studio of the Open API Hackathon 2022. I have to admit, 15 minutes to decide about the winners was quite challenging and ambitious plan. So my apologies for waiting much longer. But we have the winners. We have the winner for the Challenge A and also for the Challenge B. So let's get to that. Slavotolea will announce the first winner of the Challenge A. Who's it?
So, I will not make it much longer. There is no need. It already took us quite some time and it was very difficult. So, the winner for the RBI challenge is Finfluent.
Juraj, how do you feel about this? What do you say?
I gotta admit, we are pretty stoked as a team. Wonderful achievement. I'm super proud.
Okay, and what are the highlights from the weekend for your team? What did you enjoy the most?
I think I love the journey when actually we started off with something and then we actually passed through the ideas and how it evolved. I think the iterations with mentors were priceless. So it's something I appreciate a lot. And I think it brought the team together. So I think that was very, very good.
Amazing. So congratulations. Thank you very much for your dedication and effort. I think you deserve a round of great applause. So please. And we will get back to you with the cash prize and all the details following the hackathon. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and have a good sleep, because I assume that you haven't slept much.
Not much. Thank you too. Thank you, the team, and thank you to RBI.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And let's get to the Challenge B, owned by Tatra Banka and Superfaktura. Martin, who's the winner?
I will make it the same way, so we will not prolong it too much. We like all three solutions, but we had to choose, and we did our mind. And the winner in this category is company Maps for the solution Runway.
Congratulations, Adam. How do you feel about the winner prize?
Very grateful. Thank you to everyone that has been a part of this hackathon. It's actually after a few hackathons, the first one we were able to win. So we are really excited. Finally it came. Yeah, very happy.
Okay, and any highlights from the weekend?
It's just being together with a bunch of like-minded people that want to do good stuff. So we actually had a great time, also fun developing the solution. Also discussing the solution with the mentors has been awesome. Thank you to everyone, the challenge owners, the jury, the mentors, the organizational team. We really enjoyed the whole experience.
Thanks a lot. Round of applause for Maps.
Let's use it that we are meeting physically. Congratulations.
And round of applause for all the teams participating. Congratulations. And before we say goodbye, I would like to thank to all the partners who contributed to organization of this hackathon. Superfaktura, partner of the Challenge B, and then Elevator Lab, RBI API, Blockchain Hub, Night of Chances, Plug and Play, Learn to Code, Slovak University of Technology here in Bratislava, Hack Košice, Touch IT, Volt, Coderia, IT, Robim IT. And thank you all for your dedication and effort. Let's stay in touch. Do not forget to follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn event of Open API Hackathon 2022 to get pictures and videos. And our team will get back to you with the after movie and all the materials in order to memorize and remember this wonderful weekend. Connect, or I would like to encourage you to connect with your fellow teams, mentors, partners, and organizers on LinkedIn in order to stay energized for the next Open API Hackathon. Let's spread the energy and ambition to innovate the banking sector. And once again, thank you for being part of the banking revolution. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday.